When an MLB legend takes his final swing, it's his wife who's left holding the bat and picking up the pieces. Baseball is basically America's soap opera, and like every soap opera, it's filled with drama, heartbreak, the knights in shining armor, and of course the leading ladies who either save the day or stir the pot. And when the hero strikes out for good, some of these women step up big time. Take Rachel Robinson, she didn't just keep Jackie's legacy alive, she wrote the book on it, literally. Or Roxy Joins, who repped the Dodgers at games like her husband never left. But not all the stories are Hall of Fame worthy. Some take a turn for the scandalous, the shocking, or the downright greedy. So buckle up as we get into the untold stories of these many wives of dead MLB players, the heartbreak, the bitter betrayals, the resilience, the shocking greed, and the surprising twists that come after the legends depart for good, kicking off with Alicia Gwyn. Alicia Gwyn was married to Tony for over 3 decades. She stood by him throughout his Hall of Fame career with the San Diego Padres and beyond. Since his death in 2014, she has used their foundation and community work to ensure that Mr. Padre is remembered not only for his skills on the field, but also for his impact outside the field. We really don't need to guess how well she's been doing since she swore to do everything to preserve his memory. She's been on the news every step of the way. In 2019, Dr. Alicia Gwyn leveled up on her career with her debut album, Energy on 10, and a hot new single, Free. After 25 years of doing so well behind the scenes as a songwriter, producer, and indie label boss, she stepped out from the shadows dramatically. Let's not forget she's way more than just an artiste. Music's just the latest chapter in Dr. Gwyn's story. She's got a PhD in education, 2 master's degrees in human resources and counseling, and remains a certified anger management coach. Plus, her book, The Creed of Life, Practical Principles of Character Building, has been a hit at San Diego State University and youth conferences from the US to the Caribbean. San Diego's ultimate boss lady remains a community icon. She's on the board of the San Diego North County Regional Chamber and used to chair its education foundation. And, of course, Tony's children have been riding along. Tony Jr. is a sports broadcaster for the Padres, and his daughter, Anisha Nicole, is killing it as a music artist. Brace up for yet another wife of a former MLB star, knee-deep in legal wranglings to get a handle on his fortune. Elzie. Liz was Ernie Banks' 4th wife. Slowly, she became a key part of his success, particularly before he became a Chicago icon and baseball ambassador. Ernie's relationship with women was always difficult, and in the case of his 4th wife, things weren't any dirent. They saw a lot of ups and downs until his death in 2015, but things would only get worse afterward. The dispute over his estate between Liz and Ernie's family made headlines during this period. The drama and the legal battles have led to a lot of questions about her role in his life. Whether or not she was a positive influence on the former MLB star remains a matter of debate. Mr. Cub had a career filled with both soaring highs and heartbreaking lows, and Liz helped him get through the lows that came during his twilight days. Banks is fondly remembered for being the MLB star with an infectious enthusiasm and an unmatched love for baseball. The 2-time National League MVP, 1958-1959, smashed 512 career home runs, and was the first player in Chicago Cubs history to have his jersey retired. His famous catchphrase perfectly captured his boundless energy and passion for the sport. None of this means he never had his struggles as a player. Sometimes, his individual brilliance just wasn't cutting it. He had to turn to other sources. Banks never played in a postseason game, as the Cubs consistently fell short of playoff contention during his tenure. Additionally, like many players of his era, Banks faced racial barriers as one of the early black players in MLB, debuting in 1953, just a few years after Jackie Robinson broke the color line. Continuing this thread is another ex-wife who is slowly taking her place as one of the MLB's most beloved women. Of course, we are talking about Melissa Webb. Melissa Webb. Who could possibly forget that Melissa was involved in the tragic accident that claimed the life of her husband, Daniel Webb? Since his passing, she has kept a low profile, focusing all her energy on protecting his legacy. Webb got his first call to the majors on September 2nd, 2013, and debuted 2 days later, pitching a solid inning of relief against the New York Yankees. He wrapped up his rookie season with a respectable 3.18 ERA across 9 appearances. By 2014, Webb became a regular in the Chicago bullpen, pitching in 57 games with a 3.99 ERA and a 6-5 record. Webb's career hit a major setback in 2016 when he made just 1 appearance before undergoing Tommy John surgery on June 10th. By November 3, 2016, the White Sox released him, ending his tenure with the organization. Coming up next is another young widow of an MLB player who didn't unlock his full potential before sadly passing on. Alejandra Baleato Marichal. Alejandra has had to bear the devastating effects of Jose Fernandez's death, as well as the responsibility of raising their child all on her own. The Cuban-American quickly became one of baseball's brightest stars after his 2013 debut, earning Rookie of the Year honors and 2 All-Star selections. Jose Fernandez's electrifying talent and infectious joy left an unforgettable mark. After 3 failed attempts in Cuba, he narrowly defected to the United States in 2008, risking it all for a shot at freedom and a future in baseball. Settling in Tampa, Florida, he excelled at Braulio Alonso High School before being selected by the Marlins in the RST round of the 2011 MLB draft. Fernandez's life was cut short on September 25, 2016, in a boating accident on Miami Beach. His untimely death at just 24 left the baseball world mourning the loss of a generational talent. Fans could only begin to imagine the depth of Alejandra Baleato Marichal's grief, a struggle that can be truly understood only by those who have endured similar losses, like Martha Montgomery Hansen. Martha Montgomery Hansen. Tommy's tragic death at just 29 years old due to organ failure linked to complications from cocaine and alcohol toxicity was a huge blow to fans around the world. Martha Montgomery Hansen was Tommy Hansen's wife and partner throughout the run of his baseball career. Knowing she was right by the troubled pitcher's side even during the layos was always a comforting thought. She has pointed out that his death in 2015 has been one of the worst moments of her life. Of late, she has become one of the most outspoken voices on the untold physical and mental challenges players face after the spotlight dims. In his prime, Tommy Hansen was a talented MLB pitcher who played for the Atlanta Braves and Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. After making his big league debut in 2009, he spent 4 seasons with the Braves before being traded to the Angels in 2013, where he wrapped up his MLB career. He also showcased his talent in the West Coast League, playing for the Corvallis Knights before the Atlanta Braves drafted him in 2005, 22nd round. Continuing this thread is the case of a far more towering female presence in the history of the MLB, the beloved Rachel Robinson. Rachel Robinson. The wife of the legendary Jackie Robinson is a powerhouse in her own right. As a trained nurse and highly competent educator, she stood by his side through the intense challenges of racial discrimination. After Jackie's passing in 1972, she carried on his legacy with fearless determination and founded the Jackie Robinson Foundation, which has provided scholarships and opportunities to countless students. Rachel was born in Los Angeles, California. She met Jackie Robinson in 1941 at UCLA, just before he left the university due to his baseball eligibility running out. They got wedded in 1946, and soon after, Jackie broke the color barrier in Major League Baseball. Their marriage was blessed with 3 children: Jackie Robinson Jr., who tragically died in a car crash in 1971, Sharon Robinson, and David Robinson. Rachel is always welcome at the Dodgers Stadium. After Jackie's retirement from baseball in 1956, Rachel shifted gears, earning a master's in psychiatric nursing from New York University in 1959. In 1972, she founded the Jackie Robinson Development Corporation, focusing on affordable housing, and for 10 years, she led the way. In 1996, she co-authored Jackie Robinson, an intimate portrait, giving fans a closer look at the man who changed the game. Just like Rachel, Vera Zabala is another MLB widow who earnestly fooled her husband's dream of wholly giving everything to the community he was part of. Vera Clemente. Vera certainly has her place in the history of the MLB. The couple married in 1964, and Vera was with Roberto every step of the way during his rise to superstardom and in his humanitarian efforts. She shared his passion for giving back and often joined him in charity work and supporting his endeavors to uplift communities, particularly in Puerto Rico. Since his death, she has continued to honor his memory by carrying on his legacy of service. Clemente was one of the RST Latin American stars to make a massive impact in Major League Baseball, starting with the Pittsburgh Pirates in 1955 after the Brooklyn Dodgers lost him to the Pirates in a strange draft twist. Clemente was the guy who could throw a ball across the field like it was nothing. Add that to his consistent bat, he notched a .317 lifetime average and hit his 3,000th base hit in 1972 on his very last at-bat. But it wasn't just his stats that set him apart, it was his courage and character. Before he tragically lost his life in the plane crash, Clemente fought the double whammy of racism and discrimination, both for being Afro-Latino and a foreigner. He was vocal about the inequities Latin players faced, much like Jackie Robinson did for African Americans. Clearly, when it came to giving back, Roberto Clemente was in a league of his own, right up there with legends like Tommy Lassorda. Joe Lassorda. Joe's husband was straight-up baseball royalty. He wasn't just famous for his fiery passion and personality, big enough to fill Dodger Stadium only. He took the LA Dodgers from 1976 to 1996 and turned them into a baseball powerhouse. Under his watch, the Dodgers rolled to 8 winning seasons, 4 World Series appearances, and 2 shiny championships. Before his 1,599-1,439 win-loss record, Lassorda was just a scrappy pitcher out of Norristown, PA. He had his moments in the minors, like that 125 strikeout game, which is straight up wild. He debuted with the Brooklyn Dodgers in 1954 and, in true Tommy fashion, struck out Stan Musiel to toss 3 wild pitches and get injured in the first inning. His stint with the Kansas City A's was no better, and by 1960, he was back in the minors. But the dude wasn't done. He came back swinging as a manager, and that's where he really made his mark, leading the U.S. Olympic team to gold in 2000.
To begin with breaking news, we've learned that Jo Lassorda, the wife of the late Dodgers Hall of Famer Tommy Lassorda, has passed away. The Dodgers made that announcement this morning. Here's their photo. Jo died last night in her Fullerton home, surrounded by loved ones. The two were married for 70 years before Tommy Lassorda's death on January 7th of this past year. Jo Lassorda leaves behind a daughter, a granddaughter, and is survived by a sister. Funeral services are still pending right now, according to the team.
Fans were sad to hear of Jo's death. After Tommy passed away in 2021, and shortly before she joined him, Jo became a respected figure in the Dodgers community. Nowadays, she is fondly remembered for her quiet grace and the unwavering love she shared with her husband. The couple's relationship was a long-lasting testament to loyalty, love, and mutual support. Just like Jo was pivotal in keeping Tommy's legacy alive, Roy's fire, which kept the Dodgers burning bright, was stoked by none other than the solid and dependable Roxy joins Campanella. Roxy joins Campanella. Without Roxy joins Campanella, there would be no Roy Campanella, the Hall of Fame catcher for the Brooklyn Dodgers, who became a symbol of pure, unbridled talent. Her unwavering support was key in helping him survive the aftermath of the 1958 car accident that ended his playing career. Even after his passing in 1993, Roxy continued to keep his legacy alive, often sharing stories about his impact on the game and his role in breaking racial barriers in baseball. Coming up in the wake of Jackie Robinson breaking the color barrier, Campanella solidified his spot as one of the best, earning 3 MVP awards and helping the Dodgers snag their first World Series win in 1955. He had a cannon for an arm, a bat that could knock it out of the park, and a leadership presence behind the plate. But things would change. In 1958, a car accident left him paralyzed, cutting his playing career short. Instead of giving up, Roy stayed in the game, becoming a coach and a mentor, doing as much as he was able to contribute to the next generation. In this respect, he was a lot like Stan Musiel, especially with Lillian right by his side, helping him along the way. Lillian Musiel. Following Stan's passing in 2013, Lillian kept his memory alive, remaining active in the Musiel Foundation and continuing the couple's work to help others. She died at 91 on May 3, 2012, and their marriage lasted for almost 72 years. For 72 years, she was the wife of Stan Musiel, one of the greatest players in MLB history. The couple married in 1940, and Lillian was a supportive and loving partner throughout Stan's storied career with the St. Louis Cardinals. After Stan's retirement, Lillian continued to be a vital part of his world, and together they became prominent figures in the St. Louis community, involved in various charitable endeavors. Lillian was married to the baseball legend who received the Presidential Medal of Freedom from President Obama himself. Whether it was serving his country in World War II or advocating for the rights of others, Musiel's legacy was built on more than just his 3,630 hits. It was about character, grace, and the kind of integrity that made him an icon, not just in baseball, but in life. Stan owed much of his name and success to his wife, just as Gil owed so much to the incredible, unforgettable Joan Hodges. Joan Hodges. Joan remains a beloved Gür among Mets and Dodgers fans since the death of her husband. She has worked tirelessly to keep Gil's story alive, advocating for his induction into the Baseball Hall of Fame, a dream that was finally realized in 2022. It happened on the 5th of December 2021, and the family of Gil Hodges received the long-awaited gift. His career stats, .273 batting average, 2 World Series titles, and a 1969 Mets championship were impressive, but it was his character that truly set him apart, something Joan was always proud of. He remains an American icon. Vin Scully, Dodgers legend and longtime friend, described Hodges as not only a stellar player, but an exemplary human being, a saint, as many Dodgers players would say. His leadership on and off the field, his faith and his commitment to social justice made him the ideal Hall of Fame candidate. In the months before the vote, Kevin O'Malley, inspired by Hodges' life, set out to make a film. Teaming up with Emmy-winning filmmaker David Naglieri, they produced Soul of a Champion, The Gil Hodges Story, which premiered in November 2021. The film not only chronicled Hodges' athletic career, but also highlighted his crucial role in supporting Jackie Robinson's integration into Major League Baseball. All in all, this paints a picture of an MLB legend that's as glamorous as it gets, one of the few figures in baseball history whose legacy stands toe-to-toe with the likes of Pee Wee Reese. Dorothy Walton Reese. Dorothy outlived Pee Wee Reese by nearly 13 years. The wife of the Dodgers legend was a steady and supportive presence throughout his Hall of Fame career. The couple shared a bond that lasted through his years as a cornerstone of the Dodgers' Boys of Summer era. She was, and had always been, a very private person, even during Pee Wee's transition from player to broadcaster after his retirement. After Pee Wee passed away in 1999, Dorothy continued to honor his legacy and remained connected to the Dodgers family. Dorothy's life exemplified the grace and resilience of a woman who stood beside one of baseball's true gentlemen, contributing to his success in ways that went far beyond the game. He certainly had plenty of highs. He spent 16 seasons with the Dodgers, making 10 All-Star appearances and earning a reputation as one of the best shortstops in the game. He was also part of the legendary 1955 World Series winning Dodgers, finally clinching the title that had eluded the team for so many years. And let's not forget his emotional support of Jackie Robinson, especially when the rookie faced unspeakable racism. Reese famously put his arm around Robinson in a moment of solidarity, sending a powerful message that still resonates in baseball's history. It wasn't all sunshine and World Series parades for Pee Wee Reese. His career had plenty of bumps, both on and off the field, but through it all, he had Dorothy by his side, much like Ricky Henderson had Pamela Palmer Henderson, who kept him grounded during the chaos, proving that a great partner is just as essential as a great glove. Pamela Palmer Henderson. Pamela Palmer Henderson was the longtime wife of MLB legend Ricky Henderson. Their relationship started way before the fame, back when they were high school sweethearts in Oakland, California. She has never been one for the spotlight and has often focused on supporting Ricky and their family. Together, they had 3 daughters, Angela, Alexis, and Adrienne. Since his death, she has devoted her attention to raising the children and protecting his image and legacy. Who could have imagined then that Ricky would become the Ricky Henderson, the greatest leadoff hitter and base stealer baseball has ever known? Probably Pamela. Since 1979, he stormed the gates as a raw 20-year-old phenom, part of Oakland's next-gen outfield trio with Dwayne Murphy and Tony Armas, a young, dynamic crew that Charlie Finley, ever the penny pincher, assembled for under $100,000. Over a 25-year career, he earned $44.5 million, a respectable sum for his era, but pocket change compared to today's contracts, like Juan Soto's jaw-dropping $51 million a year deal with the Mets. Ricky was Oakland baseball. He grew up there, starred there, and, fittingly, spent his final days there. He passed away in an Oakland hospital, a victim of pneumonia and asthma complications. His death stunned everyone who knew him. Ricky had always seemed indestructible, eerie, and eternal, like the legendary pitcher Fernando Valenzuela. Linda Burgos Valenzuela. The beautiful and graceful Linda Burgos Valenzuela, wife of legendary pitcher Fernando Valenzuela, was his steadfast partner throughout his incredible journey from rural Mexico to MLB superstardom. The Lovebirds married in 1981, just as Hurricane Fernando Mania was sweeping the baseball world. Linda has always been a secret but influential presence in Fernando's life. She was responsible for his success as a Dodgers icon, a cultural ambassador, and a beloved figure in the sport. Fernando was transformed from legend to myth after his death. As if scripted by fate, his death came just days before the 2024 World Series, a Dodgers-Yankees showdown mirroring the 1981 Fall Classic. MLB Commissioner Rob Manfred announced that Valenzuela would be honored throughout the World Series games at Dodger Stadium, and the tributes were nothing short of extraordinary. The Dodgers etched his iconic number 34 on the mound while a mariachi band, one of Valenzuela's favorites, played soulful tunes, including Amor Eterno. His jersey hung prominently in the Dodgers broadcast broadcast booth, a quiet reminder of his legacy. Before Game 1, the opening ceremony struck a chord. A moment of silence brought the stadium to a standstill, with Valenzuela's wife and children in attendance soaking in the love and admiration pouring from the fans. Since then, she's remained a fan favorite, especially when the cheers, honors, and tributes are flying. The atmosphere was electric, reverent, and unforgettable, a perfect farewell for a man who meant the world to baseball and beyond. And standing gracefully in the midst of it all was Linda Burgos Valenzuela, carrying herself with dignity and strength. Now, let's just say the same can't exactly be said for the next ex-wife on this thread, Carol Wolyong Rose. For these two, drama and bitter court battles are regular headliners. Carol Wolyong Rose. Pete Rose's second wife, the beautiful and enchanting Carol, was by his side through it all, his glory days on the diamond and the messy fallout from his infamous gambling scandal. Together, they had 2 kids, Tyler and Cara, adding to Pete's growing family from his first marriage. But after nearly 3 decades of marriage, after the brawls and the cheats and the controversies, the chaos of Pete's post-baseball life proved too much, and they split in 2011.
Health is deteriorating and he is disabled. Court documents filed in his divorce case says baseball's hit king can barely walk or travel, and that Rose's income has taken a serious hit. The filings are an attempt to block Rose's estranged wife, Carol, from getting more spousal support. Rose has acknowledged heart problems. The 77-year-old had 3 cardiac procedures in the past 5 years.
The former couple didn't exactly have a smooth parting. Their divorce battle dragged on for years, turning into a messy saga before Pete's death. He held on tight to every penny he had. She tried to take as much as she could bite. He spoke about his health. She remained adamant. In 2018, 7 years after Pete RS led for divorce, Carol didn't hold back, accusing him of raking in big bucks from autograph signings while labeling him a degenerate high-stakes gambler, according to TMZ. But since Pete's passing, though, Carol hasn't been shy about defending his legacy. Ironically, she's made it clear she won't tolerate anyone trying to tarnish his name or downplay his impact on the game. Wow, crazy how the death of a loved one can change people. But is Carol the only widow of an MLB legend battling over his Nancy's? Nope, not by a long shot. Carly Skaggs. It took the tragedy of Tyler Skaggs' death for his wife, Carly Skaggs, to become one of the strongest voices in the MLB. Since the Los Angeles Angels pitcher passed away in 2019 from a tragic overdose, she has involved herself in programs to educate young athletes and families about the dangers of substance abuse. Who could possibly forget the interview in 2019 when she opened up about just how much fentanyl-laced oxycodone her husband had been using? The couple had only been married a few months. They were doing well. Tyler was determined to make the season his best yet. But it turned out he too close to the sun.
Serious death of a Major League Baseball player. Angels pitcher Tyler Skaggs found dead in his hotel room in Texas. He just pitched a game on Saturday. He was only 27.
Tyler Skaggs certainly had remarkable abilities and a promising future that was cut short. He was a supplemental RST round selection for the Los Angeles Angels in the 2009 MLB draft and quickly rose through the ranks, making his Major League debut on August 22, 2012. Carly Skaggs reminds everyone of someone else who has been doing a lot since her husband tragically passed on, Maria del Pilar Sangiovanni. Maria del Pilar Sangiovanni. Following Ventura's tragic death in 2017, Maria was left to cope with the immense loss. Despite her grief, she has continued to honor Giordano's memory, keeping his legacy alive by maintaining connections with his family, teammates, and fans. Occasionally, she shares memories of their time together on social media, remembering Ventura as not just a baseball player, but also a loving husband and a caring person. Investigations into the accident and death of the MLB icon persisted for weeks, generating a lot of buzz. The facts show that the 25-year-old Kansas City Royals pitcher Giordano Ventura had lost his life in a car accident in the Dominican Republic. MLB.com's Jeffrey Flanagan and Matt Cardos shared the team's official statement, re-acting the heartbreak felt by fans, teammates, and the entire league. The ace was one of the most promising talents in the MLB and was popular among fans for his great spirit and solid morale. His unforgettable Game 6 performance in the 2014 World Series, dedicated to his late friend Oscar Taveras, showcased not only his passion, but also the heart and resilience of a player destined for greatness, a destiny tragically cut short by the cruel hand of fate. Unlike Ventura, Keeley had a way longer run in the big leagues, enjoying his time in the spotlight. Up next, we've got another widow who, thankfully, mercifully, didn't have to face the heartbreak of losing her husband so young. Flynn Behrens. After his sudden death, Flynn was left to navigate life without her husband. In the years that followed, she became a vocal advocate for heart health and raised awareness about the risks that even young, seemingly healthy individuals can face. Flynn has also focused on raising their children and keeping Daryl's memory alive by sharing stories of his life and career with them. It has been years since the news of his death rippled through the league and the airwaves, sending waves of panic among the St. Louis Cardinals, who were still reeling from the loss of the beloved broadcaster Jack Buck at 77. While gearing up for a matinee showdown with the Cubs at Wrigley Field, fans were told that the 33-year-old Cardinals pitcher had been found dead in his Chicago hotel room after suffering a heart attack caused by 90% blockage in 2 coronary arteries. What began as a delayed 12:20 p.m. start turned into a devastating day for baseball. The meeting between the Cardinals and Kyler's wife the following day was widely publicized. From that moment on, she became one of the most beloved faces in MLB as the Cardinals continued to carry their fallen teammate with them. Continuing this thread is the wife of an MLB player who ended his career with the New York Yankees, Melanie Varela. Melanie often describes how she got the news of her husband's death. Stepping of the plane at LAX on October 11th, she found herself face-to-face with her sister, Brandy Peters, who was tearfully waiting for her at the gate. It wasn't a casual welcome home moment. Peters, along with others, ushered Melanie into a room. That's when they broke the devastating news. The plane her husband, Corey Lytle, had been flying with his flight instructor, Tyler Stanger, had gone down. Corey, who was just 34, had been flying a Cirrus SR-20 back to California after wrapping up his season with the Yankees. Unluckily, the plane crashed into a Manhattan apartment building, killing all aboard. Like the wives of most MLB legends who passed on through untimely deaths, Melanie was faced with the challenge of raising a child while grieving the loss of her husband, Corey Lytle. To make things even more heartbreaking, Melanie was pregnant with their second child at the time of the crash. Since his death, and in the many years following this tragedy, Melanie has been away from the public eye as she has prioritized healing from the tragedy. Those who remember Corey admire her resilience in dealing with such an overwhelming loss. If you enjoyed this video and want more interesting stories like this, check out one of these boxes on your screen.